Garlic is not only a flavorful spice, but also a powerful ally in maintaining health. However, if you consume it before bedtime, it can turn out to be a real threat to your body. In this video, we will analyze 10 fatal mistakes that can be made when consuming garlic at bedtime, and tell you how they can seriously undermine your health. These mistakes can not only disrupt your night's rest, but can also lead to dangerous diseases such as heart disease, cancer, stomach, and digestive system problems. Learn why habitually adding garlic to your evening diet can be extremely dangerous, and how to avoid these risks. Stay tuned to protect your health and make your evening habits safe. This video will be extremely informative and helpful, so if you want to become a master of your health, click like, and let's get started. Mistake 10. Garlic consumption for thyroid disorders, hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Garlic is a product known for its health-promoting properties that many people include in their diet without thinking about its potential effects on the thyroid gland. People with thyroid conditions, such as hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, can face serious complications by consuming garlic before bedtime. For people with hypothyroidism, a condition in which the thyroid gland does not produce enough hormones, garlic can exacerbate the hormone deficiency. This is because some compounds in garlic can interfere with the absorption of iodine, a key element for thyroid function. Research conducted at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health showed that people with inadequate iodine intake are at risk for further deterioration of thyroid function if they regularly consume foods that interfere with iodine absorption. Iodine is an essential element for the production of thyroid hormones, and its deficiency leads to slower metabolism, lower body temperature, weakness, and rapid fatigue. In people with hyperthyroidism, on the contrary, the thyroid gland produces an excess of hormones, which causes an acceleration of metabolism and leads to weight loss, restlessness, and rapid heartbeat. Garlic consumption in this case can worsen the patient's condition. The fact is that garlic stimulates metabolism, which can aggravate already elevated levels of thyroid hormones. In a study conducted by Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, scientists showed that such metabolic stimulants can cause further worsening of hyperthyroidism symptoms, which increases the risk of cardiovascular disease and even heart failure. This makes garlic a dangerous product for people with this diagnosis. Maria Rodriguez, 48, from Spain, had been suffering from hypothyroidism for several years. She decided to improve her health by eating garlic before bed on a regular basis after watching videos on the internet about its benefits. However, after a few months, her condition worsened. She began to complain of constant fatigue, weight gain, and deterioration of her thyroid gland, which was confirmed by her doctor. After Maria eliminated garlic from her diet and started a course of treatment with iodine-containing drugs, her condition stabilized. If you are diagnosed with hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, it is important to consult your doctor before including garlic in your diet. The consumption of foods that may impair iodine absorption or stimulate metabolism should be monitored. For people with hypothyroidism, it is important to monitor iodine levels in the body and avoid foods that reduce iodine absorption, including garlic. Those who suffer from hyperthyroidism, it is better to exclude garlic to avoid stimulating the metabolism and not worsen the symptoms of the disease. Taking care of thyroid health requires a conscious approach to nutrition and attention to foods that can upset the balance of hormones. Mistake 9. Consuming garlic for diabetes and using sugar-lowering medications. Garlic has been used for thousands of years as a powerful natural remedy for healing the body, including lowering blood sugar levels. However, when you have diabetes, especially against the backdrop of using medications to control glucose levels, eating garlic at night can turn into a serious, health-damaging mistake. Diabetes is a disease in which the body either does not produce enough insulin or cannot effectively use insulin to regulate blood sugar levels. Glucose-lowering medications, including insulin and oral anti-diabetic agents, are widely used to treat diabetes. Garlic, with its ability to lower blood sugar levels, can increase the effect of medications and lead to hypoglycemia, a dangerous condition in which sugar levels become too low. A study conducted at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that uncontrolled consumption of foods that can affect blood sugar levels, such as garlic, can cause rapid glucose fluctuations in diabetics, especially if taken before bedtime, when sugar levels naturally decrease. Hypoglycemia can cause dizziness, loss of consciousness, seizures, and can even be fatal if not treated promptly. David Henderson, 56, from Canada, had type 2 diabetes and was taking metformin to control his sugar levels. After hearing about the positive effects of garlic on the cardiovascular system, he began adding a few cloves of garlic to his meals before bedtime. After a few weeks, he began experiencing bouts of severe weakness, dizziness, and sweating at night. One night, his wife found him unconscious, and after emergency hospitalization, it was discovered that David's blood sugar had dropped to critical levels due to the combination of anti-diabetic drugs and garlic. To avoid dangerous consequences, people with diabetes should be cautious about consuming garlic, especially before bedtime. Before introducing this product into your diet, you should consult your doctor to avoid hypoglycemia. If you are already taking medications to reduce sugar, garlic can enhance their effect, which requires a revision of the dosage of drugs. You should not rely solely on folk remedies such as garlic to control diabetes, especially without the supervision of a specialist. It is important for diabetics to maintain stable blood sugar levels throughout the day, and eating garlic at night can upset this balance, especially when combined with medications. Mistake 8. Consuming old or moldy garlic. Garlic has long been known for its health benefits, but when it comes to its storage and shelf life, many people make the fatal mistake of consuming old or even moldy garlic. It seems that the product is natural and retains its healing qualities, but old garlic can become not just useless, but extremely dangerous to your health. When garlic begins to age, its biochemical composition changes. One key aspect is the development of mold and fungi, which can lead to the formation of mycotoxins, substances that are dangerous to health. A study by the Food and Drug Administration found that mycotoxins can cause severe poisoning and even contribute to chronic diseases such as liver and kidney cancer. These toxins are not always visible on the surface, and mold can even develop inside the cloves. Mold on garlic is a serious threat because many people are unaware of it and continue to use the product. Consuming moldy garlic before bedtime can cause food poisoning, diarrhea, vomiting, and can also significantly weaken the immune system. It is especially dangerous for the elderly and children whose bodies are more sensitive to toxins. According to the World Health Organization, mycotoxin poisoning can be fatal with prolonged consumption or high concentrations of toxins. Helen Foster, a 63-year-old woman from the UK, had been adding garlic to her evening diet for years, believing it supported her cardiovascular system. One day, she decided to use old garlic that had been stored in her home for several months, although it was beginning to show small spots. A few days after using it, Helen felt weak, had bouts of vomiting and abdominal pain. After hospitalization, doctors determined that the cause was the toxic effect of eating garlic contaminated with mold, resulting in acute poisoning and liver malfunction. In order not to become a victim of old or moldy garlic, it is necessary to closely monitor the condition of the product. At the slightest signs of mold or changes in structure, garlic should be immediately thrown away. Garlic should be stored in a dry, dark place with good ventilation, but no longer than a few weeks. If you notice a change in color, texture, or smell, this is the first signal that the product is unfit for consumption. Use fresh garlic for cooking, especially if you plan to eat it before bedtime. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommendations also emphasize the importance of following food storage rules to avoid dangerous mycotoxins that can seriously harm the body. Mistake 7. Garlic for irritable bowel syndrome (IBS). Many people believe that garlic is a natural superfood that can improve health for any body condition. However, for those who suffer from irritable bowel syndrome (IBS), eating garlic before bedtime can lead to serious digestive problems and worsen the symptoms of this chronic condition. Irritable bowel syndrome is a complex disorder characterized by recurrent abdominal pain, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea. Garlic can worsen these symptoms, especially if consumed at night, when the digestive system slows down and is more easily irritated. Garlic contains fructans, a type of short-chain carbohydrates that are difficult to digest in people with IBS. These substances can cause excessive gas in the intestines, which increases bloating and pain. A study conducted by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that fructans within garlic may act as provocateurs of IBS symptoms. The study found that more than 60% of people with IBS experience an exacerbation of symptoms after consuming foods containing fructans, including garlic. This problem is especially acute when garlic is consumed before bedtime. Bedtime is a period when the body's processes slow down, and the intestines may not be able to handle the digestion of garlic, resulting in disturbed sleep, cramps, and pain. Consuming garlic in the evening can increase abdominal bloating throughout the night, causing discomfort and disrupting the sleep cycle, contributing to fatigue buildup and a weakened immune system. Anton Gustafsson, a 45-year-old man from Sweden, had been consuming garlic before bed for several months in an attempt to improve his overall health. Suffering from chronic irritable bowel syndrome, he was unaware that garlic could worsen his condition. After a few nights of garlic, he noticed that his symptoms had gotten significantly worse, especially his abdominal pain and bloating. His condition eventually required hospitalization, and after an examination, doctors confirmed that eating garlic in the evening had aggravated his bowel problems. For people suffering from IBS, it's especially important to avoid foods containing fructans, including garlic, especially before bedtime. If you do want to add garlic to your diet, it is best to do so in minimal amounts in the morning when the body is more active in digesting food. Another option is to use garlic oil, as it does not contain fructans, but retains some of the beneficial properties of garlic. For people with IBS, it is important to formulate a diet that minimizes intestinal irritation and helps avoid exacerbations, based on the recommendations of a gastroenterologist. National Institutes of Health guidelines emphasize the importance of avoiding foods that cause gas when treating IBS to minimize inflammation and improve patients' quality of life. Mistake 6. Garlic for liver and kidney problems. Garlic, despite its many health benefits, can be deadly for people with liver and kidney disease. Consuming garlic before bedtime can exacerbate these diseases and cause serious complications that can be life-threatening. Garlic contains active ingredients such as allicin, which can become toxic to the liver and kidneys in large amounts. These organs play a crucial role in cleansing the body of toxins and processing various chemical compounds from food. A study conducted by the National Institutes of Health found that in people with pre-existing liver and kidney disease, regular consumption of garlic, especially before bedtime, can increase inflammation in these organs. Liver and kidneys, being under load, do not cope with the increased volume of substances that require detoxification, which can lead to a violation of their functions. This is especially dangerous for those who already have signs of cirrhosis, hepatitis, or chronic renal failure. At night, when the body slows down metabolic processes, garlic consumption can cause the accumulation of harmful metabolites in the blood, which only exacerbates problems with these organs. World Health Organization studies confirm that excessive garlic consumption can cause serious complications for patients with liver and kidney disease, including impaired kidney filtration capacity and liver cell destruction. Olena Kovalenko, a 53-year-old woman from Ukraine, suffered from chronic hepatitis and mild kidney failure. On the advice of friends, she started eating garlic before bed, hoping it would strengthen her immune system. However, after a few weeks, her condition worsened significantly. She began to be bothered by constant pain in the right subcostal region, and her skin became jaundiced. Doctors diagnosed an exacerbation of her illnesses, which was caused by the accumulation of toxic substances due to excessive consumption of garlic. This led to her having to undergo inpatient treatment to stabilize her liver condition. For people with liver and kidney disease, it is important to avoid excessive garlic consumption, especially before bedtime. If you suffer from chronic problems with these organs, you should consult your doctor before adding garlic to your diet. An alternative is to consume smaller amounts of garlic in the morning or afternoon hours, when the body is more active in handling digestive processes. It is also recommended to consider using garlic-based preparations with more controlled concentrations of active ingredients, which may be safer for weakened organs. Research from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that to maintain liver and kidney health, it is especially important to strike a balance between healthy foods and those that can cause strain on the organs. Mistake 5. Sleep disturbance. Garlic is an amazing food that has many health benefits, such as antioxidant and antibacterial effects. However, consuming it before bedtime can lead to unexpected and unpleasant effects. Regular consumption of garlic at bedtime can disrupt your sleep and lead to insomnia, which is a serious threat to your overall health. Garlic stimulates the metabolism and activates the nervous system, making it too powerful for evening use. According to the National Institutes of Health, garlic contains allicin, an active ingredient that can affect energy levels and nervous excitability. Consuming garlic before bedtime can increase this effect, causing sleep problems. Research conducted by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health shows that activating the nervous system before bedtime can lead to difficulty falling asleep and decreased sleep quality. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention indicate that sleep disturbances can have far-reaching health consequences, including increased risk of cardiovascular disease, depression, and metabolic disorders. Chronic sleep deprivation is also associated with a high risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes, as confirmed by the American Diabetes Association. An example is the case of George Rivera, a 55-year-old from Spain. George consumed a few cloves of raw garlic every night before going to bed, believing that it improved his health. However, he soon began having trouble falling asleep, which developed into chronic insomnia. According to his doctor, regularly eating garlic before bed made his sleep problems much worse, which in turn led to higher stress levels and poorer overall health. To avoid such a mistake, try to avoid consuming garlic in the evening. It is better to include garlic in your diet in the morning, which will allow your body to digest it and reduce nervous system activity before it is time to sleep. You can also consider consuming garlic in the form of supplements, which usually have less of an effect on your metabolism than fresh garlic. By following these tips, you can avoid the negative effects of garlic on your sleep and keep your health at an optimal level. Mistake 4. Garlic for hypotension. Garlic is not just a spice, but a real helper for maintaining health. Its numerous beneficial properties are known worldwide: antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and even anti-cancer. But eating garlic before bedtime can be dangerous for people suffering from hypotension, that is, low blood pressure. It can cause serious health problems, including dizziness and weakness. Garlic has a powerful property of lowering blood pressure. This is due to the compounds it contains, such as allicin, which helps to dilate blood vessels and improve blood flow. This results in lowering the overall blood pressure. According to a study conducted by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, regular garlic consumption can be helpful in controlling high blood pressure. But in people with already low blood pressure, it can cause significant problems. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention emphasize that hypotension can lead to a number of negative health effects, including dizziness, fainting, and weakness. These symptoms can become especially dangerous if a person is performing active or potentially dangerous activities, such as driving or operating heavy tools. The American Heart Association also points out that a significant drop in blood pressure can cause chronic fatigue and cognitive decline. An example is the case of Mario Gonzalez, a 47-year-old from Mexico. Mario, who suffers from hypotension, consumed large amounts of raw garlic cloves every night, believing it would improve his health. After a few weeks, he began experiencing frequent dizziness and fainting spells. After consulting a doctor, it was discovered that the sharp drop in blood pressure caused by garlic was the main cause of his problems. It also affected his ability to perform daily tasks, causing significant stress and a decline in his overall health. To avoid this danger, it's important to keep a close eye on how garlic affects your blood pressure, especially if you already have problems with hypotension. It is recommended that you limit your garlic consumption before bedtime and consult your doctor to find out what level of consumption is safe for you. You can also consider consuming garlic in supplement form, which may contain a more controlled amount of active ingredients. By approaching garlic with caution and an awareness of the possible risks, you can enjoy its benefits without putting yourself in danger. Mistake 3. Allergic reactions to garlic. Garlic, that ancient and much-loved ingredient in cooking and medicine, can hide pitfalls behind its apparent safety. Despite its many health benefits, including its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory effects, garlic can cause serious allergic reactions in some people. These reactions range from mild skin itching to life-threatening anaphylactic shock. Research conducted by Sloan Kettering Cancer Center has shown that garlic contains proteins that can provoke allergic reactions in people who are hypersensitive. Their research found that even small amounts of garlic can cause allergic reactions in some people. These reactions can include itching, rashes, swelling, and, in extreme cases, anaphylactic shock. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warn that anaphylactic shock is an acute, life-threatening condition that requires immediate medical attention. Symptoms include difficulty breathing, a sudden drop in blood pressure, loss of consciousness, and even death if not treated. The American Heart Association also emphasizes that having allergic reactions can significantly complicate health conditions, especially in people with pre-existing medical problems. An example is the case of Lisa Johnson, a 34-year-old woman from Australia. Lisa had always used garlic in her diet, including it in various dishes before bedtime. However, one day, after consuming a large amount of garlic, she developed a severe allergic reaction. Lisa began to experience itching, swelling, and difficulty breathing. After calling an ambulance, it was determined that she had experienced anaphylactic shock due to her garlic allergy. This situation required emergency hospitalization and long-term treatment. In order to avoid the risk of allergic reactions, especially if you have a previous history of such problems, it is important to follow a few simple guidelines. First, if you have a history of allergies, try to avoid eating garlic before bed or in large quantities. Second, if you notice symptoms of an allergic reaction after consuming garlic, contact your doctor immediately for the necessary tests and recommendations. Finally, for those without obvious allergies, it is best to start with small doses of garlic and observe your body's reaction. Mistake 2. Consumption of garlic against a background of anticoagulants or blood clotting disorders. Garlic, recognized by many for its amazing healing properties, can be dangerous for people taking anticoagulants or suffering from blood clotting disorders. Its active ingredients, especially allicin, can affect the blood clotting process, which can lead to serious consequences. A study conducted by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that garlic has anticoagulant properties that can enhance the effects of anticoagulant drugs. These properties affect blood clotting factors, which can lead to an increased risk of bleeding. When garlic is combined with anticoagulants such as warfarin, it can significantly increase the risk of abnormal bleeding. The American Heart Association also notes that uncoordinated use of garlic and anticoagulants can lead to unpredictable effects and dangerous conditions. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention emphasize that the use of anticoagulants requires extreme caution because these drugs already weaken the blood's ability to clot. Adding garlic to the diet may exacerbate this effect and thus increase the risk of internal or external bleeding. For example, Jonathan Martin, a 58-year-old man from Canada, suffered from thrombophlebitis and was taking anticoagulants on the recommendation of his doctor. For several months, he added garlic to his diet, believing it would improve his health. However, shortly after starting this diet, he experienced unexpected and dangerous bleeding that required emergency medical intervention. This condition occurred due to garlic's interaction with anticoagulants, which significantly aggravated his problem. To avoid the risks associated with consuming garlic on a background of anticoagulants or blood clotting disorders, it is recommended that you consult your doctor before adding garlic to your diet. It is especially important to consider any medications and supplements you are taking to prevent potential negative interactions. If you need to use garlic for medicinal purposes, discuss this with a specialist and keep an eye out for possible changes in your health. Regular medical checkups and monitoring blood clotting levels can also help you avoid unforeseen complications. Thus, paying special attention to garlic's interaction with anticoagulants and blood clotting disorders will prevent serious consequences and keep your health safe. Mistake 1. Excessive use of garlic for stomach diseases. Ulcer, gastritis, heartburn, GERD. Garlic is undoubtedly a valuable product with many beneficial properties. However, its consumption can cause serious problems for people suffering from stomach diseases such as ulcers, gastritis, heartburn, and gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD. Excessive consumption of garlic in such cases can significantly worsen the condition and provoke complications. Studies conducted by the National Institutes of Health show that garlic is highly acidic, which can irritate the gastric mucosa and aggravate the symptoms of existing diseases. According to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, garlic, especially in its raw form, can help increase the production of stomach acid. This leads to increased mucosal inflammation and can exacerbate symptoms of ulcers and gastritis. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention notes that consuming garlic for these conditions can lead to an increased risk of worsening heartburn and reflux disease. This is because garlic helps relax the lower esophageal sphincter, which increases the likelihood of stomach contents entering the esophagus. Unfortunately, many people underestimate this risk. An example is Maria Gonzalez, a 45-year-old woman from Spain who suffered from stomach ulcers and gastritis. Maria became fascinated with the use of garlic as a digestive aid and actively added it to her evening diet. Shortly thereafter, her condition worsened significantly. Her ulcer and gastritis symptoms became more severe, and she required hospitalization. To avoid such problems, it is important to consider your health and limit your garlic intake if you have a stomach condition. It is advisable to consult your doctor for individualized recommendations. If garlic is still used in the diet, it is better to choose heat-treated garlic, which is less aggressive for the mucous membrane of the stomach. It's also a good idea to monitor your overall health and follow the recommendations for treating stomach problems to avoid exacerbations and keep your health on track. In this video, we use data from several major U.S. organizations that play a key role in studying the biological processes of aging, finding ways to slow aging, and developing innovative technologies to extend life. Read more about them in the description below the video. What do you think about this? Do you agree with these statements? If there are any questions, ask them in the comments. More information on this topic can be found at the links in the description below this video and on our channel.
Subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications. Please like and share this video with your friends. Thanks to our sponsors for their support. I eagerly await your comments and encourage you to watch these useful videos.